Hi stamping friends, this is Becky Roberts with Inky Idaho. Today I have a cute little card to share with you. It's a Shadowbox card. It's basically just the Shadowbox that you've been seeing all over the internet, and I just created it into a little greeting card. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you how to do it. We're going to start with the pattern that's in the back of the tutorial that I've provided. And this particular piece of paper is 8 1/4 inches by 9 1/2 inches. And all you're going to do is score it at 1/2 inch increments on all 4 sides. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/2 inch. So I've got one already started that I'm going to complete here. I'll show you how to do that. So I've got one more that I need to do right here, and I'm using this 1/2 inch line that's on this side of the paper trimmer because it's just a little bit easier to get to. And so I'm going to line that one last score line up on the 1/2 inch and score it. And then I'm going to rotate it, and we're going to do 4 of them on this side. So here's the 1/2 inch. We'll scoot it over to the next one, which actually is 1 inch. And then I'm going to scoot that score line over to 1/2 inch. And that score line over to 1/2 inch. Now this is, like I said, it's 8 1/4 by 9 1/2. So you do have, this is your 8 1/4 side, this is a little bit longer at 9 1/2. On your shorter side, which is your 8 1/4 inch side, we need to have 2 additional score lines. We need to score at 1/2 inch on just these bottom 2 rows on both sides. So I'm going to lay this last score line back on the 1/2 inch, and I'm going to put my little arrow that's on my scoring blade right there on the line for the 1 inch. So see, I just scored 2 of those and 2 of those. And I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to line this last score line up on the 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to just come in 1 inch because that's 1/2 and 1/2, and do the exact same thing here at the bottom. So I've created these partial little score lines right here. So that's all there is to that portion of it, and now it's just time to cut into this. So I start on these little short lines so I don't forget what to do with them, and so I'm going to cut on that little short score line up to the intersecting score line and stop. When I get there, I need to cut diagonally from corner to corner to that one, and then just follow the rest of the lines until I cut this piece of paper off. We're going to cut the corners off. We're going to start again back on this little 1/2 inch line. Then we're going to diagonal corner to corner and finish on this line right here, and then cut this corner off. Turn the paper around and line it back up on your shorter score lines. Go diagonally, pick up on your score line, and then cut the whole corner off. So you can see pretty much how it's done there. So I'm not going to go ahead and finish it. Of course I have one finished for you. So I'm going to bring it in here, and this is what it looks like when it is completely cut out of the corners. Maybe that's a little bit easier for you to see. So at this point you just fold on all the score lines just one at a time with your bone folder. Score, 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 score on all 4 sides. And then to assemble this, you're going to start rolling this in on the sides, and each of these are going to make a square. See how that creates a square right there? So we're going to create a square and just kind of hold on to it for a second while we do this one on the bottom. And this is going to create into a square also and tuck right into those corners because that's why we cut that off. And then we're going to turn it around and fold this one in to a square, and then we have our frame. So technically you're supposed to be able to do this without any adhesive whatsoever, but out of all of them that I've ever done, I think I only ended up with 2 that didn't need adhesive. So what I've done is I've just put a little bit of adhesive right here on this line, and a little tip right there and right there, and then just put it back in place and just hold it for a second. Just make sure it's nice and straight, and just hold it, just hold it for a couple of seconds until it dries. This liquid glue dries pretty quickly, so just hold it and then it will be dry. So as soon as we can turn it around a little bit, I'm going to do the exact same thing here. I'm just going to put a small amount of adhesive here, a little drop on each corner, and just fold this back into the square. I'm going to hold this for just a minute until I'm certain that it's dry enough to let go, just making sure that nothing moved and everything is perfectly square on my corners. And I'm going to set it aside and let it dry for a minute. Now, oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside while I bring in some stamping pieces. So on a piece of scrap Whisper White cardstock, you're going to want to do all of your stamping. You need the kitty, and you need 3 of them, because the punch that we're going to use, which is actually the Fox Builder punch, has just the different parts on him, but they're not lined up. So you need 3 kitties, one so you can punch out his head, one so you can punch out his body, and one so you can punch out just his tail. And then the rest of these are hand cut. You're going to cut out the 2 mushrooms. This is Calypso Coral and Peekaboo Peach. 2 of the trees in Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. This stump, you just need 1, and that is in Chocolate Chip. And then I did 2 of each of the little ferns. I did 2 of them in Pear Pizzazz and 2 in Old Olive. And then I switched over to the birthday banners set, and I stamped the full candle and 2 banners, and then I put Happy Birthday on the banners. So we're going to cut that one out with the framelits. So you'll take the framelits and just line them up like that, and you're going to cut them both out. And you're going to cut them both out because we're going to layer one on top of the other for a little bit of added dimension. At this point, you're just going to hand cut the things that you don't have a punch for. So you'll punch these, do the die cut for those, and hand cut these. So as you can see, I've got them all cut out over here on the side. The first thing I'm going to do is just put the birthday banner together. I just cut it off right outside the color of the ink, and just cut the banner portion off a little bit. Trim it up a little bit, I meant. You're going to cut it completely off. And just like that. And then you're going to take Stampin' Dimensionals and put on the back of this. These are just the double sticky foam adhesive tape. Peel those off. And then just apply it right over top of the other banner, just to add a little bit of dimension to it, just to let it pop up just a little bit. I'm going to set that one aside. The next thing we're going to do is pull in the back piece, which is actually the insert of the card that we're making, and we're going to put the kitty together. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the ground piece from the stamp set called Sheltering Tree, and I'm going to stamp this on the ground. Now remember, we are going to have our frame that's 1/2 inch covering this, so you're going to want to start up just a little bit, not right at the bottom, and put some grass there. And then you're going to switch over to Soft Sky, and we're going to put little clouds using the Swish from the Work of Art stamp set. And we'll start about there, there, and there. Just make some little clouds just to give it some color. And then we're ready to put it all together. So I'm going to start with the stump and just put a little bit of adhesive on that and put it right on the top. And then we'll pick up the kitty. Now when you punch this, it's going to leave a little bit of white space on the bottom of him, and we don't need it, so I just cut it off. And he goes on with a Stampin' Dimensional also, but I only put it right at the top of him because his legs or his feet are going to go right onto the piece of wood itself, and we want his, his tummy to stand up. So we are going to now put his tail together. So since we cut this out from a body that's already existing, we have a little bit of a pattern. So we have that little line right there that shows us where to line it up right there. And then to put the kitty's head on, we're going to stack 2 Stampin' Dimensionals on top of each other so that it's the highest point on the card. So I'm going to put one right there, peel it off, and put another one right on top. So he has 2 dimensionals, so he's the highest piece. And you can see right there on your stamping where his head connects. Well, I'm just going to turn it a little bit and give him some personality. The next thing I'm going to do is take one of the little fern pieces and just put some adhesive on this. And I'm going to just put it down here by the stump. And then I'm going to take one of the little peekaboo punch or peekaboo peach mushrooms and put him right in front. Then I totally forgot that I need to slide the trees in, so let's see if we can get that done without messing it up. Yeah, we're going to try, we'll slide that guy in, and then, wow, this is good, isn't it? Then we'll put him in. So we need to have, oh, for crying out loud. Put this tree in, goes behind everything. There we go. We'll adhesive him down in just a second. Put his body back together. Put his head back on. There we go. And we'll just put a little bit of adhesive under what we need to put it under, just to stick it together. I think starting from the top down instead of the bottom up. All right, so just turn it over, make sure everything is sealed, nice and tight. Let it dry just a minute, and then from the candle that I stamped right here and the flame, I cut out just a tiny bit of the center section of it, and then this is the Stampin' Dimension, or excuse me, the flame, and I just cut a little bit out of the center of it, and I put a tiny Stampin' Dimensional on the back of it. So we're going to put that right between his hands. He has little hands, little arms on here. So I'm going to put the candle right there, and I want it to be pretty much right up to his chin, so that when I put this flame on and peel it off, the flame will go right up to his mouth. And then that's all there is to put him together. And then we'll turn him over and put a little bit of adhesive, or a little bit of the glue on the back of it, and layer it on the basic gray piece of paper. And then turn it over so you don't get your hands all over it. All right, we're going to bring our frame back in, and we're just simply going to slide it inside. So I'm going to put a little adhesive on it and slide it down in there. Make sure it sinks down into all of the sides. Fits good. Okay, there we go. So we're going to set that aside for just a moment, and we're going to bring in the cover piece. So the cover piece is actually some odd measurements. It's 5 9/16 by 9 3/16. You just needed a little bit extra to wrap around this so that it would cover like an actual card. So it needed just a little bit of different measurements. And then you're going to take the largest oval in your ovals collection, and you're going to measure it, and you're going to cut it right out of the front. And I always put a little post-it note or a piece of repositional tape on there so that it doesn't move. You want it to be straight. So we'll set that aside, and we're going to take some old olive ink and the arch, the vine arch that's in here, and ink it up, and we're going to put it right over the oval on the top and on the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to pull in a piece of doily, and I just measured how much I wanted from just the bottom, so I'm going to cut it straight across and just use this bottom piece. I only just need a little portion of it. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this, and it's going to have a lot of things on top of it, so it doesn't need a lot of adhesive. It's not going to go anywhere when we're done with it. And I'm going to lay this right there across the bottom. And then I'm going to bring in the birthday banner and put that right across the top here. And then just decorate it a little bit with some of the pieces that we have left over. So I'm taking one of the ferns that's in Old Olive, and I'm going to set it up here like this. Take one that's in the lighter color, which is Pear Pizzazz, and put a little bit of adhesive on there. And I'm going to stick that desk down here a little bit. Oh, now, there we go. And then one of the Calypso coral mushrooms I'm going to put on the inside a little bit. So you might be able to see some of that from the inside of your card. And I'm going to take another one in the Peekaboo Peach and put on the outside just to give it a little decoration. And one more, and just balance it off by putting one on the other side, leaving that little green vine showing a little bit. There we go. So there's our cover. I've gone ahead and scored it down the center, and I have the measurements if you want to score it from left to right in the tutorial. But the trick is you're just going to score it 4 5/16 from this edge, turn it around and score it 4 5/16 to that edge, and then fold it, crease it with your bone folder. And you have your cover that's ready to go. The next thing is we're going to take a piece of the Peekaboo Peach ruched ribbon and cut it. I think this is about 22 inches. I always cut it a little bit more generously than I need. I'd rather have more than be too tight, that's for sure. And tie this in a bow. So we've got the bow on there. And then just position it where you want it. I'm going to move it up a little bit so it's a little bit higher, and trim the ends. Okay, then we're going to pull the frame back in, and we're going to take some of the tear and tape, and we're going to put 2 layers of the tear and tape along the left hand side of this. I'm going to peel this one off, and then put one more on. And peel it off. And then just put it right into the spine of this card. Oops, we're not quite dry, so we gotta be careful. Put it right on the score line, fold this up and adhere it. And then before it's really, really, really sticky, close it and make sure it's straight, and then just reinforce the back and make sure that the adhesive is sticking to it. And when you open it up, you have your birthday card, and you can write your sentiment in the back. This, well, you can't see it if I stand it up like that, but when we stand it up, you can see that it's got the three layers in it. So I hope you enjoyed this Shadowbox tutorial. You can make it out of any of the stamp sets that you have. This one was Foxy Friends, Birthday Banners, Work of Art, and Sheltering Tree. A lot of our little images would be cute in that. So if you make one, be sure and post it on the Splitcoaststampers so that we can all see it and share it. For more information and more creative ideas, you can visit me at www.inkynidaho.com. Thank you.